Hey everybody, I'm here with Jeanmarie Hasiak.
That's
She
okay.
has an amazing story, and I wanted to share it with everybody. Most of my audience is interested in plant-based eating, and I found your story through my friend Terry Gleason. It's an amazing, inspirational story. I know my fans will appreciate it. So, if you can take me back, I know you were diagnosed with MS about 30 years ago, I think you said, or if you can tell me how you were
30,
diagnosed and what happened.
about 32 years ago, I actually lost the feeling in my fingers and then on my down my side, and I was really exhausted and I didn't know what was wrong. So I was taken to some doctors, and uh, they did an MRI because it was, you know, at that time it was either that or a spinal tap, and I was not getting a spinal tap. So they did an MRI, and when they do an MRI actually, a nuclear magnetic resonance, they found that uh, the cluster, the cluster in the brain, which forms when you are having an exacerbation. So that's how it happened.
Mhm. Wow.
And so then the doctor told me, and they, put me on, I forget what it's called. It's people are given it when
Is
it's
it
not an MS
prednisone or something like
medication.
that?
Pregnant. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Yes, they put me on a prednisone, and the prednisone was so painful. My
Yeah, that's a
fingers,
strong
my hand.
medication right here.
Yes, well, it's to supposedly shock the body into a remission
Hmm.
from an MS attack, from an exacerbation.
I see.
So yeah, but I eventually just stopped taking the
How long were you on
prednisone
that?
because
How long were you on that
the
prednisone?
oh, it would be for weeks at a time until I went into remission.
Hmm.
But after that, I wouldn't. When I would get an exacerbation, I wouldn't go on it anymore because, like I said, it was painful. And if I was going to go into remission anyway, I wasn't going to have pain that I couldn't use my hands because they were in excruciating pain because of the prednisone. I mean,
Right.
so yeah.
I wonder if
So
you could take me back when you first found out you were diagnosed with MS. I imagine that was a very depressing
um,
time. Were you able to accept it right away? Or?
I like I had told you previously, when I was told that I had MS, the doctor just said to me, here's what's going to happen. You are going to end up, not too long in the future, within the next couple of years, you're going to end up needing a cane. Um, then you'll be with a cane to be able to help you walk. After another couple of years, maybe you're going to end up being in a wheelchair. Um, and then after another couple of years in a wheelchair, he said, then you're going to end up being bedbound, and then that's going to be followed by death. But I give you about 20 years until this happens. So, that, and
Wow.
when he told me that, I was so devastated. The boy that I was going out with at the time, I told my mother to please call him and tell him that I never wanted to see him again because I didn't want to be saddled with him, to be saddled with a cripple.
Wow.
And so my mother did that. She called him, told him, and he was too stubborn to agree to that. So he did continue to see me and is downstairs. We've been married for 30 years.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
he stuck with me.
Right.
But yes, it was devastating. I have gone through many exacerbations, many attacks through the years, untold problems. When they say people that get diagnosed with MS have depression problems, it is
Hmm.
absolutely true
I'm sure.
because look at what they're facing. So that's pretty much what my past was with that in terms of how I felt.
Right.
Yes.
I'm curious if you had the same kind of mentality because when I was diagnosed with hypertension, I didn't want to, accept the fate and go on medication. Did you have like this drive within you to find whatever you could to, you know, get over your symptoms? You just didn't
Yes.
accept your fate, it sounds like.
Right. I thought, because what I started to do was I started to educate myself in what MS was and people who had it and what they were writing. And some people were writing about how they would exercise and make themselves very, very healthy. And doing that, they were able to put off the MS, to, put a stoppage to it or that kind
Right.
of thing. So I did that. I started, I was always athletic, but I started concentrating a lot more strongly on making myself healthy, exercising, keeping myself in really good shape so that it would hold, hoping that it would hold the MS at bay.
Hmm.
And it in some way it did, because it was years. It was a good amount of years before I started taking medication for the MS, that I wasn't taking anything, but I
Oh,
still would
really?
get
That's good. Yeah.
flare-ups and slight yeah. So I think that it became problematic because I was cautioned to not have children. And my husband even said to me, it's okay, we can adopt, it's not a problem.
Hmm.
Um, as you saw before, that was my son. So I have two boys, two sons. I wanted desperately to have children, so I did. Um, and while you are pregnant, the MS goes into a remission, but once you have the child, then you become, your body gets attacked. And that's what had happened.
Did it get worse after you had the
It
baby?
just this well, in a way, like I would have the same thing with problems with the numbness, problems
Hmm.
with the numbness on the side, like I said with the hand. Um, like I said, problems also that I probably couldn't see because, I have a master's degree and I have a very high education and a high vocabulary, and I don't have that anymore because my brain, I even got tested, and a person, a medical professional even said to me, she said, your brain is not the same as it was because of the MS. There was damage done because,
Affects
like I said,
everything.
of those fatty clusters. And, she said, now, she said, your vocabulary is going to be like a regular person. She said, you're not going to be as advanced because you can't think of the words. And I can't. That's why when I was saying, you told
Oh,
me
prednisone. Yeah.
the prednisone, I
Yeah.
can't think of the words. So it's very frustrating
Right.
and very upsetting. But yes, my mother had hypertension like you,
Hmm.
and her hypertension went away. She didn't have to take hypertension medication anymore because of the way she was living, the whole food, plant-based, starchivore way with Dr. Mcdougall, because oil is
Now
also, even though it's
she started the journey with you, correct? She started
correct.
with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she did. Um, she cheats a little bit because, she's not
Yeah.
completely MS,
Right.
but yes, she tries to live like I do, staying completely away from, definitely staying completely away from dairy,
Right.
definitely staying completely away from animal proteins, because Dr. Mcdougall was fantastic. He explained that the animal proteins, our body is at homeostasis when we're healthy. And that homeostasis, what it does is, when our body changes and becomes more acidic or more alkaline, the body's out of line, right? And the way the body gets back to perfect homeostasis is it's got to take part from one part of your body to give to another part to maintain.
The balance.
So, right. So when you are eating, when you are having animal proteins at all, which is dairy too, that's animal proteins too,
Yep.
your body becomes much more acidic, much more. So your body's very acidic. And in order for you to get back to that homeostasis, what you need to do is you need to get alkaline in your body. And the way that your body does that within itself is it goes into your bones and it leaches out it leaches out of your bones the alkaline so that your body is back at homeostasis. But that is the reason why when you see all these older people and they're like, oh, I need more calcium, I need more milk, they're actually doing the
Yeah, they're
exact
doing more
reverse of
damage.
what they should do. Yep, because your body's still the acidic part. And that's, this Dr. Mcdougall, if you get a chance to look him up, please do. He is phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I took a course with him, and I am now certified starchivore representative that I can tell people about his research, because nothing that he has said is just said. He backs it with actual solid proof. And one of the things that he did was he backed the whole thing about MS and why MS, being on this starchivore diet, could make the symptoms go away. And, you would actually start to heal yourself. And I have healed myself. I would trip and fall and I couldn't jog. I used to be able to jog. I loved it. Now, for the past couple of years, since I've been completely starchivore, I go out jogging. I have really good balance now. I have no problems when I go to sleep that my legs get leg tremors. They used to. I had to take medication for that. Nothing. So when I tell you.
My stepmom has a cousin. She has MS, and she's probably in her 60s. She has the worst symptoms now. She can hardly walk, practically bedridden. And I'd love for her to know that there's something she could do at least to get some of the symptoms under control. And hearing your story.
Yes, and when I tell you that, yes, when I tell you that if she eats this way, she will see changes. Maybe not this fantastic change, but she will see changes. I mean, because after a couple of months, I was shocked that I was seeing all these changes that were getting better that I never thought. When I was teaching, not teaching, when I was, I am a strength trainer at the Y, and a personal trainer now. And when I would go in for my shift to the Y, it's raining and miserable, and I wanted to get out of the rain. So I ran across the street into the Y. And when I get there, I realized, oh my gosh, I just ran and I didn't trip and I didn't fall. What is that?
Yeah.
And then I said to my mother, I think I have balance now. And I put, I stood that balance thing with my leg up like in yoga. And my mother started crying. She was so so happy. Yeah. But yeah, so I started. And like I said, I wouldn't be able to sleep unless I spread legs out, because I would get these leg tremors at night. My legs I'd get these restless legs. So I had to take this type of medication that calms the muscles down or something like that. I didn't need it anymore. So I don't take that anymore. So when I tell you that I see a difference, and my sister-in-law, that was a big thing too. When we were at her house and we were talking, she said, oh, Jean, your hands aren't shaking anymore when you're talking to me. And I said, really? She said, yeah. So when I tell you little things, all of a sudden, she will see a change. People who do and stay with it, they will see a change.
And you saw within the first couple months, you said, right?
Yes. Yeah. Within the first couple months, I was shocked, because I was still having those problems. And like I said, the doctor at the Mcdougall thing had said to me, why don't you try going, because I said to him, you know what, every week my family has pizza. My family is not starchivore. They eat meat. They eat pizza with cheese. They eat everything. and I cook for them. And yeah, and the doctor, Mcdougall, had said to me, why don't you try going completely 100% compliant with the starch solution? Just completely stay away from everything. Because I had said to him, no, you know what? I have to have at least once a week, I have to have my pizza. But when he said to do that, I said, you know what? Okay, for 6 months, fine. So
Yeah.
I did it for 6 months where I made this vegan pizza with this vegan ricotta instead of mozzarella.
Yeah.
And it took just a couple months. It was like 3 months. And my sister-in-law made that observation of me about my hands not shaking. And I observed that I didn't need to take the medication for my leg muscles anymore for the tremors. And like I said, it started raining. This all happened in that area because it really hit me, that I ran across the street to get to the Y. And I went, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I can't tell you. And it's really understandable that things that you eat do have an effect on your body.
So one question I often get asked, because I've been 100% plant-based for 3 years and plant-based for 8 years. People think that I have the cravings, and how do I do it? And different questions like that. Now, did your cravings go away as well? Because I crave the healthy foods now.
Absolutely. Like I told you, my family eats the meat and everything. And I have tried experiments where, well, not experiments, but they'll do something like grill skirt steak on the grill outside. And, it smells delicious and it's juicy looking and it looks so yummy. And there was they had made some skirt steaks. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to try this little teeny piece, just have a little bite of it and just, and I took the little piece and I started eating it. And I was like, it didn't do anything for me. So I just spit it out. Yeah. No, I did the same thing with they had a rotisserie chicken. And I thought, oh, that looks so delicious, because you think about, oh, that used to taste so good. So right. I took a little teeny piece that was all juiced and everything. And I took a bite, chewed on it. I went, spit it out.
Yeah.
It just, you really, after you do that once or twice, you realize, because, you think about what you're eating and you're like, am I loving this? No, you lose your taste for meat.
Worth it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of ice cream or, whipped cream or things like that, you never lose your taste for that. But at least I wouldn't. But I know how dangerous dairy is. And that's why at this point, you don't start and you don't continue. So I don't start.
Right.
There's other candies that you can have sugar. It's not the worst thing. It's not the enemy.
Have you kept in touch with the Mcdougall people over the years? Have they kept track of your story?
Yes. As a matter of fact, if I get off my rear end and get my story written, they want to make me a star Mcdougaller, which they, give to people that have a good success story. Yeah. Yes. But like I said, though, I took their course. I paid for the course and took it so that I could be a starchivore,
right?
Bona fide, qualified with a certificate and everything, starchivore. So, and I have access to all of the information and all of the tests and all of the, research that Dr. Mcdougall has done. So I can give talks on that. I can spread his word. And, like I said, I gave a talk at one of the churches a couple of months ago. The good thing is, before the coronavirus thing hit, I was also substitute teaching, and I would talk to some of the kids because, for the high schoolers, and some of the high schoolers are very interested in that, and I explained to them about homeostasis, and I explained to them about the acidity and about, the eating and the way, the best way to eat. And some of them are really receptive to it. Some of them think, oh, wow. Some of them are like, oh, there's no way I could go without meat. And I say to them, well, then don't, but try to make it less.
Yeah,
Just do what you
exactly.
can.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, so that's pretty much
Well,
where I am.
you were talking about COVID-19 briefly, and before you mentioned, which I think is very true, you were saying that if it was now that you're on the meds, you don't think you'd survive the COVID-19 with all the medication if you had to do it that way. And I think that's true. You need to keep your immune system strong.
Oh yes, my immune system now is so incredibly strong. I am not on any of the MS medications. I am not on any of the cholesterol medications. I am, my immune system, I had even said to my husband, I would have been terrified if we had this COVID thing before I did the starch solution and became whole food plant-based. I would have been terrified because I would have been one of the first to go. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's scary out there.
And
especially for those who have the high risk factors. I would want to make changes if I were them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I look at them and I feel so sad because these people that have the type 2 diabetes, these people that have the high blood pressure, the all these things that the COVID goes after.
Exactly.
I mean, you look at it, and I was reading something, I don't know if it's correct or not, but I was reading something about that the COVID virus really hits hard and starts out in the gut, in the stomach. And I thought, I mean, I could be wrong, I don't know, but when I read that, I thought, oh, that's interesting because that's where all your food is going.
Right.
So if you're a healthy eater,
if that's the case, can it really survive with a healthy environment we have?
Which actually, if you think about it, maybe it makes some sense because they were talking about that people who had the high blood pressure, the type 2 diabetes, those kind of things were the ones that were in the most danger of it really hitting them hard, the COVID.
Right.
So maybe there is something to this, I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if there was.
So
I'm very familiar with Dr. Mcdougall, but I don't know, I know he has differences from other plant-based doctors. Personally, I follow them all, and I do take the best out of each of them. But what is the thing about Dr. Mcdougall, for example, that's different with Dr. Furman? Does he not allow nuts, for example, and seeds? I know there's some differences. I was just curious.
I don't really pay huge attention to. I know that my mother follows Dr. Furman and Dr. Mcdougall and a couple of those doctors. And all I know is the oil, I try not to have it because oil is the way that one of Dr. Mcdougall's speakers was explaining it, is the oil is processed. Yes. The more processed the food, the more dangerous it is. So absolutely, because the oil is so compressed and processed and that type of thing, it's just not a good thing to have. Right. And that's what I try to do. And I guess to me, I just try to follow as closely as I can, just eating to live and not living to eat. I don't look at things like, oh, tonight I'm going to have this, or I mean, sometimes, it's good. I mean, my mother made me vegan quiche, and yesterday I was just, oh my God, it's delicious. with tofu, type thing. And it's so good. And it's really good. My mother's parents owned 2 restaurants, and she is like a cook and a half. She's fantastic. So she, like I said, I even say to my mother now when she says, oh, well, do you want me to make you this? And do you want me to, and I say to her, you know what? Whatever's easier.
Hmm.
To
Will be
me,
good anyway. So
food is what I need to now.
yeah,
Yeah, right. I don't look at food anymore as this, you know, gotta have something different every day, gotta do this, gotta do that. I think that the more you rely on changing up your food all the time, the more, and Dr. Mcdougall had even attested to this, the more you stand a chance of cheating, the more you stand a
that's true.
chance of,
That's true. Yeah.
I want,
Yeah.
and to me, now it's just, food is just something to live. Food is
Yep.
not, what you go out and hey, gotta have this today, gotta have that tomorrow. To me, I'm happy. I have my salad, and my mother makes me this fantastic tempeh bacon, and I crumble the tempeh bacon on the salad
Right.
and an oil-free dressing. It's delicious,
Yeah.
and I can
Exactly.
have it every day, and I
Exactly.
do,
Exactly.
so that's,
At least you know you're not going to
yeah.
be
So
burned with it.
yeah, I mean, I apologize because I guess there are people out there that are thinking or going to think with this, oh, I gotta have different types of
I
food.
know,
I
I
need to,
get that too. But I'm trying to reach the people who,
yeah,
are willing to change. And I'm hoping they'll hear our message, and especially people like you, or somebody like me who had hypertension. It's possible to get out of their situation. And those are the people I'm targeting. Did you
yeah.
lose weight during the process? Were you heavier at one time?
Maybe I struggled a little bit more, but I've always had an issue with my stomach. So I can't really, will it help people to lose weight? Well, absolutely, it will. But I've always had an issue with, you know, I mean, I'm not fat, I'm not fat, but I guess, do I want my 24-year-old body? Yeah. But, is this helping me with maintaining a weight? Absolutely.
I'm sure it is.
Absolutely. People want to be losing a weight, that type of thing. That's another reason why you would want to lean towards the eat to live and not live to eat. Yeah.
I saw you were wearing a 5K shirt because I became a
Oh,
runner a few years ago. I did my first half marathon last year. And have you done
mhm.
races yourself?
Actually, I could not do races at all because working at the Y, I had to work the races.
Oh,
So
okay.
when
Okay.
I was one of the representatives of the races because I would go out and get people to donate towards the race
I
because
see.
it was to help special needs people
Yep.
get um, lessons. So I, but I actually got my own race energy, race, whatever, out of running all over the place on the day of the race because I was
Oh, I'm sure.
all over
Yeah.
going,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a lot of work.
but yeah, I mean, absolutely. But like I said, I do go out now every now and again, and I go jogging. So I do jog now, and it's really nice. I
That's
am
good.
so glad that I have that option. Yeah.
Yeah, I have friends who say, because we run, that's why we run. We're able to do it. In other words, we run because we can. And I think that says it all. And that sounds that way for you. You do it because you can. And it's a great feeling that you're able to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have to imagine that years ago, before I went 100% compliant, I couldn't run. I actually would trip over my feet because I guess the muscles in my legs or something, but I would trip and skin my knees, and it would be, terrible, and it would be embarrassing, and so I just stopped running because I couldn't. And now that I'm complete starchivore and I don't eat any of the animal proteins or dairy at all,
Mhm.
I can run and I don't trip. I can't explain to you how miraculous that is to me, that I can go out there and I can run and not be worried that I'm just going to trip and fall, because that used to happen all the time. And that's why I stopped running.
Now, I have one final question. Can you tell our audience, I know you already did in a way, but can you tell them why a plant-based diet will help them with, certain conditions they might have, and why you recommend this way of eating?
Yeah, absolutely. Eating the whole food plant-based, where you aren't having things with oil and highly processed foods and that type of thing, is so crucial, because you definitely are what you eat. And people that have issues, you would be amazed if you would go for a couple of months on a whole food plant-based diet and stay that way. You lose your taste for animal proteins, you lose your taste, you really do. And you start to, as you say, really enjoy the natural way of eating. And the problems that I saw this at Dr. Mcdougall's 10-day live-in, these problems that these people had with their type 2 diabetes, with their high blood pressure, with all these things, they went away. With their arthritis, it went away. Arthritis is just inflammation, and that inflammation is your muscles, fat and whatever inflamed. That's what it is. And if you go on this way of eating, the inflammation goes away. And people, if they give themselves a couple of months to do this 100%, you will be amazed at how fantastic you will feel. And you will be amazed if you go back and eat something that's not compliant, how bad you feel, how physically terrible your body feels afterwards. So there is no better reason that you should go this way, because you matter, because you're important.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. You deserve it. You deserve to be your best. And that's why you should try to live this way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And I know your story will inspire a lot of others. And that's the important thing, getting people healthy. And I think health should be everybody's priority. Okay, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Especially like us. Yes, especially in this time with COVID. Please, people, stay healthy.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so